How you doing, everybody? Thanks for joining us for Games Abyss review roundup. As you can see, we found ourselves some fancy schmancy gaming themed hats.
Also a hat roundup as well.
Yes. So, we introduce you to my cohorts for the evening. To my right, Miss Ali Mew with the head crab.
Yes, hi.
And to my left, Editor-in-Chief of Games Abyss, Andy Asimakis with his Adventure Time hat here.
Ooh,
Say hi.
I'm loving the ears. Hey guys.
And I'm, of course, Senior Editor Matt Randisi with my little steampunk Bioshock Infinite hat from what I'm told.
Yes, and your gold chain.
And my gold chain, so apparently I'm a Saints Row character. Anyway, so we come to you today with a couple of reviews for some games that came out recently that we all played and that we all are going to tell you about what we thought of it. Some good, some bad, some scary.
Terrifying.
Terrifying is always a good one. So we're going to start to my right. Ali Mew played Saints Row 4.
Yes, I did. Okay. So, Saints Row 4 is such a really fun game because I knew what to expect, except it was way more crazier than 3, which I wouldn't guess that they could have because it's already crazy in Saints Row 3. And Saints Row 4, when you first start, you can see like they were paying like patronage to other games because not to spoil too much, but they're like in like a very Halo-esque costume, and as you progress through the story, you feel like a superhero, even though it's not really like that. You get powers, and you fly across buildings. You actually jump across, and it's really like moot point to like even use vehicles anymore. Really
Or
crazy.
guns or shit like that.
Yeah.
So what powers do you start off with, if any? And then what do you, like, obviously flight would make vehicles kind of obsolete, but is that something that's available right at the start?
Well, at the start, you have like semi superpowers where you can run really fast, but you still have the stamina thing because I'm pretty sure as you progress through the game, you get unlimited, but you get that, and you also get this crazy leaping power where you can either you hold the button enough, you'll like jump over like a medium-sized building, but if you don't make it, you can actually like bunny hop up the building.
So, like, are you in danger of dying if you, like, don't make it and you fall and plummet to the ground?
What's really interesting is you can't die because you always can jump up, but let's just say you just couldn't press the button or you're too lazy. If you let your character fall, then yeah, you're going to have, like, repercussions for that.
Which would be death?
Yes.
Okay.
But I just think the story is amazing just to put, a perspective of you being a president, and I don't know, it's just a fun game overall, so far.
So then, what would you say are some of similarities that it does share with past Saints Row games that it's held on to? Like, is there still the concept of like a gang warfare where there's ownership over certain neighborhoods?
There's still gang warfare over things because the basic storyline is aliens took over Earth, and right now you're trying to get back Earth and take over the city again.
So
there's
gangs. So it's like aliens
gangs.
versus humans.
Yeah.
Is there like gangs within the aliens, or just aliens versus humans?
Well, the aliens try to mask themselves as people, but as you progress the game, they start to like deteriorate that like facade. And you start seeing, oh, they're aliens. You're not really in Steelport. You're in this weird virtual reality made-up world.
So how does the city of Steelport look? Like, what's different about it?
The difference is like, well, obviously they upgraded a little bit slight with the details. It looks better. I love the cars. The sheen of the car looks great, but you can see like little remnants of like, so you're not in Steelport. You're stuck in virtual reality.
So like little like Matrix style like lines and glitches.
And it's crazy because when you hop back into the world, you feel like you're in the Matrix because you have to hop back into this little pod and you get transported in this virtual world.
So how do all these elements clash together? Like, you're the president, and then there's superpowers, and there's aliens, and there's like Matrix-esque kind of feel. Like, is it too much for the game to kind of handle and present clearly, or is it all just great fun?
I think when you play the game, you'll understand it more. But if you're a Saints Row fan, you just expect just craziness.
Now, is the Saints gang, are they in the game at all, or just the president who's like leading the charge this time around?
No, the Saints gang is also there.
Okay.
I think I saw. Well, I don't know if I should say anything because it might be a spoiler, because there were characters that made their return that we thought maybe weren't going to. So I saw some characters though that.
All you need to know is just the gang is there.
Okay.
Okay,
The gang is there.
that's all I asked. I'd ask for spoilers.
Is Professor Genki there?
Yeah,
Awesome.
he is. He's always going to be part of it now. He's such a lovable character. The mini game with Genki is there too. So they carried a lot of the stuff that they had in 3.
Like all of the side missions,
missions,
like
yeah.
like insurance fraud
Yes.
and all that is still
Yes.
there.
It's
So,
always
gameplay wise, does having the powers overshadow like the gunplay aspect of the game, or how do the two work in tandem with one
Well,
another?
I think with guns wise, what's really cool that makes you want to use the guns is that you can use alien guns. You can
Like the dubstep gun,
Dubstep,
for
yeah.
example.
and what's really cool is you can actually change the camos of your guns. But the camos isn't just the way like the patterns is on it. It actually changes the whole look.
Oh, wow.
So let's just say they're normal pistols. You're allowed to change the camo of it to look like steampunk guns, or like BB guns, or like Nerf guns. So it really depends. They've been really creative. I think there's like a battle rifle that looks like a shoddy wooden toy gun that shoots out little paper clips. So it's really cute that they did that. And with the dubstep gun, if you change the camo, it turns a different dubstep song.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
They actually thought about little, nuances in the game, so I thought that was cool.
I like that word.
I know. That was
Dubstep?
nuance.
And dubstep.
And dubstep.
Wub wub wub.
So I just hear that and I think of claptrap. So.
Other than that, I thought it was really cute with their marketing perspectives. When GTA 5 came out, they actually promoted this hashtag GATV, G-A-T-V, and a lot of people were confused because it said it was promoted by Deep Silver Studios, and they're like, why is this being promoted? And it
Didn't
wasn't.
realize
They
that
didn't realize
two
it was
letters.
misspelled.
Yeah.
It was actually a GAT DLC that looked like, a Grand Theft Auto character.
Oh wow, okay.
So
Very clever of them.
Maybe
Yeah.
shots fired, maybe not.
Maybe not. It
You
also
don't
might
know.
help.
Could just
You
be all
never know.
fun.
Yeah, it's all
And
funny.
they're two different games, I
They
think.
are.
When you look at them. I mean, superpowers and then based.
Well,
on
now
reality,
they are,
Grand
yeah,
Theft Auto,
because
yeah.
of what they did in 4.
Yeah.
But for a while, they were kind of like mirror images.
I mean, even in part 3, there was some intense action, like
Yeah.
the explodey fist weapon.
Oh, sure.
It was like over the top Ziness and
Yeah.
There's
and Saints
I'm
Row
not sure if
3.
GTA has a sadomasochistic pimp walking around with like.
There might be. The game just came out. There might be. We don't know that yet.
But definitely, I feel like they found their niche. Like GTA is so more.
A
like,
batshit crazy GTA.
Where did they go from here though? Like, is there anything left?
I don't know, but
What's
I
crazier than
I
what it is
feel like
now?
they're probably working on something crazy. That's all I know.
They should do like an adults only game for the
I
next
know,
title.
right?
And just cross the barrier.
This-
and put the balls to the wall, literally. And
Yeah, go-
just
Literally
in
balls to the
make
wall.
a game.
Go
yeah.
in balls deep.
Go in balls deep and make an AO game.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Like the leader of the Saints is about to die. He needs to repopulate it with her. Like,
Yeah, and then we're gonna get the giant dildo bat in
I
Saints
know.
Row 3, so we're already there, kind of.
that made its return in 4, didn't it?
Yeah.
Alright.
There's actually a tentacle bat.
Oh my God.
That-
That's kind of
That's
that makes me happy.
so alright, we've established it's crazy.
Mhm.
It's a lot of fun.
It's got dildo bats.
It's got dildo bats.
Yes.
What's bad about it? Is there anything bad about
No,
it?
it just makes me smile. I laugh a lot. There's so much different style to the artwork too, because you get transported in a 60s as well in the game. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm always entertained. I can have a laugh. I don't feel like I have to like kill somebody in rage.
Unless it's in the game.
No.
No, really? You
Yeah,
don't
it's
you
just
don't want to
fun.
kill anybody in the game?
Well, for fun, yeah.
Oh,
Like
well,
maniacally
we're killing
fun.
for fun here. I
But
mean-
not like raging at a multiplayer game like Call of Duty or something like that. It's a fun game to play.
Alright, that's a good way to
It's
put it. That's a
enjoyable,
good way.
yeah.
Alright, right, so if you were to give it a rating out of 10,
Probably an 8.
8 out of 10. So.
A strong score.
Yeah.
And make it even more crazy, and yeah, adults only.
Yeah, seriously. Keep
I
that in
mean,
mind.
the kids' parents are gonna buy it for them anyway.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, pretty much. Anything short of putting an NA rating on it. The next game that we're going to be talking about, or Andy will be talking about,
Spooky,
is
spooky.
the recently released title of horror called Outlast.
Yes.
So Outlast definitely has had a following leading up to
Yeah.
its release. A lot of people have been looking forward to it.
It's not even that scary. It's actually terrifying.
So is this a game that
Well,
can only be played in the dark?
Before I
by
go
yourself?
into Outlast, I want to say, like, a lot of my friends are saying, have you seen the new, it's called Evil Within?
It is called
Yes,
Diablo with it.
yes. And they're like, this game looks amazing. It's like, we have a horror game. Like, listen, guys, the game looks good. We already have a good horror game with Outlast. I was a huge fan of survival horror. This game totally caught me off guard. So, as usual, I was in the dark, little headphones on, or here rather, little headphones on, and for, I would say, 4 hours, which is how the game, as long as it lasts for, the game totally took over my life. And it was scary as shit, atmospheric, and just very, very terrifying.
So with all love and respect for Shinji Mikami,
Oh, yeah, I love
Outlast
that.
definitely should not be overlooked.
Yeah, of course. I'm saying, like, people are saying how this is like Evil Within, for what I'm saying, is like the next big survival horror game.
Mhm.
We already have one now that just came out, and people who love the genre should go check it out definitely.
So what exactly is the story progression of Outlast? Who are you playing as?
You play as a freelance journalist called Miles Upshur, who goes to
So no voiceovers,
Yes.
which we can
he
tell.
goes to Massive Mount Asylum, which is based in Colorado, and on a hot tip, investigative journalism work. So he goes in there, and then there's just corpses everywhere, and then you just have to survive. It's you against a bunch of crazy inmates with no weapons, armed with your night vision camera, and you're just evading, hiding, going into lockers underneath beds, just trying to outwit and outlast the crazy ass inmates.
So you're not going in going, I'm gonna kick your ass, I'm gonna kill you.
Oh God, you can't.
It's,
There's
it's,
no way.
it's pretty much, oh my God, don't kill me
Yeah.
while I hide in my little
Yeah.
corner.
So you're trying to unravel the mystery of the asylum while trying not to be killed by the inmates. That's the main crux of the game.
Sounds scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. It looks gorgeous. I would say it's probably the most beautiful game I've seen in a very long time for the PC. It's only on PC right now. It's on Steam, by the way. PS4 launch game, and it's free for PS Plus users. I want to throw that in there.
Nice.
Yes.
So there's really no reason
not to get
not
this
to
game.
play it.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a horror fan.
Well, it's not without its flaws. So let's go into why I love it first. So the game has great atmosphere, very detailed, very good jump scares. Now, I'm not a fan of jump scares. I like slow building, kind of brooding horror, like it builds slowly and then bam, it gets just jump scares that come out and get you.
Are you not a fan of jump scares when you're in groups of people or even when you're by yourself?
Are you gonna jump scare me right now? I feel like you're gonna jump at me. You gonna try to get you to come at me?
Well, I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not one where
You're
it's
gonna-
scary.
You're
Having
gonna
a-
come at me. I'm sure the head's got on her head.
No, don't touch my hat.
It's got teeth.
I know.
is it supposed to be like gangster tilted?
Tentacly.
Maybe.
It's like it's a gangster alley man.
So I would say it's a lot like Amnesia, where you have your tinderbox to light up your candles and so forth. You have batteries to replenish your night vision camera. Because once that goes out in the dark, you are fucked. You can't see a goddamn thing.
So Outlast has this mechanic of
Yeah,
you don't have this unlimited amount
Yeah.
of like survival tools to
exactly.
use.
And speaking of light, amazing dynamic lighting. Amazing, it's incredible. It's like jaw dropping. The sound, the lighting, the design of the entire asylum is great. But the character models are a little bit on the side.
like they're
Like from far away, they look amazing. But once they're like in your face, trying to eat your face,
Mhm.
that's when you see like, okay, it's not.
Is it like the same kind of like blotchy looking face?
Yeah,
over
it's
and
like
over
that
and over?
monotone, like brownish color character, which is fine, but they just lack a certain detail you'd hope for, given how detailed the environment is in the entire game.
So there's not like a regular inmate, slightly crazier inmate, and then super deformed like kill you.
There are
inmates.
some like big fucked up looking things walking around. They're all the same color, so it's not, you know.
Wow. So
And since you can't really fight them, you're always trying to run away.
so they're all
It's very clock tower in that sense. Just this
I was-
need to run away
right.
and to hide into lockers or under beds or
because you don't have anything to
nothing
fight
at
with.
all. No.
And that's what I think, like those are all the scariest games, because I mean we mentioned before when we were doing survival horror podcast where if you have a million guns on you and you're armed and ready to, to go and kill some zombies or inmates or whatever, it's not scary.
Yeah.
Because why would you be scared with the bazooka on your back, 2 pistols, and like an assault
And a
rifle? I'm
flamethrower.
not gonna be scared.
All in your back pocket. So it's very much based in reality in that sense, how you just a totally depowered character, but there are times where it feels very gamey, like run around and turn on generators. It takes you out of the horror experience and out of the this might be real experience. Like it feels more, because it feels less like a game most of the time, but when it does, it feels too much like a game. Like, I have objectives, I have missions. This is not what I'm looking for in a horror game. I want to just go from point A to point B and just do my thing, not these little weird side steps where I'm looking to find like 5 keys with heart emblems on them, like other horror games had you do for a while.
Right. Well, I mean, but at 4 hours, you're not gonna have
Exactly.
you running around
Well,
doing
again, for a horror game, you shouldn't have that many elements like that in there to begin with. But they're there, which it's a minor flaw, but I can get past it. The ending, though, is garbage.
Oh no.
Spoiler
It is,
alert.
yeah. I'm
maybe.
sorry, guys. I won't spoil the ending, but it's very. You can see it coming a mile away. It's very horror cliche, and it was a bit of an upset. It kind of like broke the game for me a little bit. A little bit.
It's just disappointing to hear it broke the game for you.
Yeah.
So what do we?
Given it was a
penalizing?
4-hour game, it wasn't like I spent all this time to get to the end.
Right.
It's like watching a really good movie that's having a really crappy ending. Like, okay, that was.
So,
Alright.
so it's not like you just played 3 Mass Effect games and then all of a
Oh.
sudden,
Oh, no.
Oh no.
No, not like that. But actually, I'm much better than Mass Effect 3. We'll say that.
Oh, no.
Well, you want to reopen this box?
God, no.
No.
That's a whole other
Good.
horror show altogether.
So a big kudos to who developed.
2 Red Barrels games. Hey, I got it in one take.
Yes, you
Yeah.
did.
Red Barrels games.
We can fix that.
It's a great game. It was actually a team by folks who brought us games like Prince of Persia and Assassin's Creed and Uncharted. So guys who know how to build a fantastic looking game, but not a lot of horror experience. But given that, great horror game.
So what are we giving it?
Ending granted and the length, I would say 7.5 out of 10.
If the ending was better.
Like a 9 maybe,
Ah.
or like an 8.5. I don't know. Just like the ending is just.
But if you love.
But it was scary.
If you
It
love
actually
survival
scared me.
horror, if you love being scared, Outlast, it's a must play.
Way to go.
Alright, to close it out, I'm going to be talking about the recently console released Diablo
God, it's hot
3.
in this hat. I'm sorry.
You're free to take it off
These
if you
lights
like,
are
but then,
on us.
then
No.
you would look weird.
No, I want to keep my hat
Because we
on.
got our hats and then.
Okay,
Yeah.
just go. Just do it again.
Why do it again? Are we not going to include
Just keep
that?
going.
So, Blizzard was kind enough to send me a PS3 copy of Diablo 3. And
And you even asked for it. They just gave you one.
it was very nice and unexpected.
Thanks,
but,
guys. That was actually really,
no,
really amazing.
Seriously, yeah. So talking from the perspective of somebody who did play the original PC release, not extensively. I never got to Act 1 when playing the PC one, but having played the PS3 version quite extensively, where I finished it with my Demon Hunter and even played through a few levels with a monk and a wizard. And the reason why I did that was because if you recall, when we were talking about it recently, I said, I can't imagine playing this game from any other perspective than a Demon Hunter. Because it just seems like the Demon Hunter has so many skills that are, I'm not going to say OP, but it's definitely easier to go through when you don't have to be in the fray of battle all the time and you have
Well,
all
that's
these...
what a wizard does too. You stay in the back and it's kind of like
Right.
deal damage from afar.
So what I needed to see was how a monk would play and how it would work out, barbarian, you know.
As a tank.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was a big deal for me when I made it through with my Demon Hunter. I was like, this game has to be like, it has to be solid from all perspectives. So playing my monk character, I definitely died a lot more in like the first 5 or 6 levels, but eventually they gain the skills. They have a skill where they can teleport to their foe anytime it's targeted, so you can be like all around the field teleporting and not get hit, kind of like ducking in and out. There are a lot, they have their healing spells, so each character is really geared up one way to solo, and you can gear them up another way to play as a co-op. And in that respect, it's a very solid game. and it's very evenly balanced. There are, I guess you could put difficulty levels on the character. Like a monk, I guess would be a more advanced difficulty because they are easy characters to play later in level, but more challenging to level up, as opposed to what a demon hunter or a wizard would be. And you having played a wizard
I
extensively.
was always in the back as a wizard. It's actually the most challenging class to play as, I think, because without a party to play with, like you're on your own out there, and if you don't have the best spells or the right gear, you cannot hold your own in battle. You're just kind of like just kiting all over the place.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's all you do.
So I mean, I was playing it through on hard mode. I'm sure you were too.
Of
right?
course, yeah.
Right. And so I don't know really if there is a very large difference between the PC version and this, but on hard mode, playing through on the PS3 version, gear dropped like candy. I mean, like every mob would drop like a magical item that maybe wouldn't be better than what I already had, but it would give me different stats. It would give me, you know, if I wanted to sacrifice attack for life, I may want to put this on. A boss mob would drop all this. A regular mob would drop all this. It just seemed way too easy to
How
get geared up.
often would you get gear that was actually useful to you?
I would say every quest, every main quest, like that inhabits an area, like just for instance, like the cathedral. The cathedral has 3 floors and related to 2 or 3 quests. Every single quest I would find at least 3 or 4 items that I could very easily wear and upgrade my character. I never have to buy anything. You really don't. I mean, once you get the blacksmith and the gem, the jeweler, then obviously you can make very superior items to what you are picking up, but there's never any reason really to buy from a merchant. You could sell things, but even the amount of money that you would get from selling, you know, very tiny, like 5 gold for an item that
not worth it.
Yeah. So it's a very loot-based game, and which is what it should be. And it's even better when it's co-op. So you have a million pieces of gear between you that you could trade. Like, oh, I have this shrunken head, I don't need this. Or I have a witch doctor in my party. Here, take this head, I don't need it. It's very intuitive that way. And like Diablo 3 has no qualms about the kind of game it is. I'm not going to judge it based on features that are so far into the background, such as story. And I say this, I mean, there is a story, but it's obviously a very combat engine focused game.
Oh yeah.
And whether it's co-op or whether it's solo, because the story is very prototypical and stereotypical in a lot of ways. Your character's going through and just like agreeing to everything and not questioning anything. And it's like, you know, it's evil, defeat evil. I will defeat evil. That the whole way. So there's no
It's the mantra of all the
it really is. But I mean, and don't get me wrong, like when I played Dragon's Dogma, I said, oh, the worst thing about this game is the story is non-existent. This story blows Dragon's Dogma story out of the water, but it's still, you know, you wouldn't
But
judge
there's
it on
plot
something.
twists and betrayal.
There are?
Did you finish the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't see that
That was
coming.
sarcasm. The hat throwing you off.
I just wanted to make sure.
The hat can't sell sarcasm.
I can't see your
My brow.
eyebrows. It's definitely. But I mean, it is obviously it's very predictable, but it's a very enjoyable game, and I would even go as far as to say that it borders going just a tad too long to remain fun. Because after a while, like once I got even to like Act 3, I felt like I was just kind of doing the same thing with just different mobs, and maybe they were a little tougher than what I was already fighting before. Obviously, if you're playing co-op, it's going to elongate, you know, the fun factor of the game. It's always better to play with a group of people. If you're playing solo, it may seem like after a while the game kind of drags, because there is so little in the way of like difference.
Well, unless you're just
twists,
grinding for a better gear or for experience.
which is not difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine what it must be like on normal or on easy mode, if that at all controls the drop rate of certain items or gold or anything like that. But I mean, ultimately, it's a very enjoyable game, especially when you're playing co-op. It is the best offering of its genre. I mean, I love games like Torchlight and like Torchlight 2 especially, and every single time a game like that comes out, you're like, oh, it's like Diablo. That's how you describe it.
Yeah.
Because Diablo is the benchmark. It's the gold standard of the game, and Diablo 3, it keeps that.
Now, As a fan of the PC version of this game, should I invest in the console counterpart of Diablo 3?
If you enjoyed it and you feel that there are,
Like for me, what's the selling point for me?
if it's possible,
To play with you? No.
if it's possible, I think that at least the PS3 version actually plays a lot smoother than the PC version.
So let's get to that. How is it smoother than the PC version?
It runs so much clearer. Like there's hardly any glitches going
Mhm.
on. From point A to point B, there's no load times, there's no clipping issues, there's no like glitches or blotchiness. Like the whole thing is just beautifully presented. And if you're watching it from afar, or not even from afar, if you're just spectating
Mhm.
and you're not playing, you would think that the whole thing is like one continuous game. If you imagine what like loading times were like,
Yeah.
the little diamond loading bar,
Yeah.
you know, on the bottom of it. Very rarely would like all 5 even fill before you loaded to the next screen. There was like no loading times. And mind you, I didn't install this. I didn't install it onto my PS3.
But you have the option to.
You have but you don't need to. Like
I
I don't even understand like what that would serve, what purpose that would serve.
I have a question. Does it have like a login screen? Does it require like a Battle.net ID?
No.
None of that stuff?
No.
Wow.
You hop on, you go
Interesting.
start game, and you
Uh-huh.
get your options, which is pretty much play options.
Mhm.
Because I mean that's what it is. I mean Diablo 3 does not, Blizzard does not need to put some kind of like weird convoluted tacked on multiplayer that isn't co-op on this, which is a great thing to see in this day and age.
Is the auction house available for the PS3 version? No.
At least I have never come across it.
Mhm.
Although mind you, I was playing mostly offline.
Mhm.
So if there is,
So you see, again, this is an offline mode.
this is an
There is no offline mode in the PC version of Diablo 3.
Well, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really have
Yeah,
you don't have.
can't, yeah.
No choice.
Exactly.
No choice.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's there.
Yeah.
But
What was the menu in the actual piece, the
I
PC Mac
I
version?
haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
But again, like I mainly played offline.
Offline.
So, but I mean, there's very few things about this game that I could say I disliked, and as far as its port, like as far as like what it is compared to its PC version,
Mhm.
it is no different really.
Mhm.
I mean, it does play, like I said, a little smoother. I mean, I don't know what it's like on Xbox 360,
Mhm.
which it was also released on. Maybe there are similarities, maybe there are differences there, but I had no complaints whatsoever. I very rarely, if ever, I can't even think of like a big glitch that I ran into,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed it very much. I would say this is probably one of my favorite games of the year.
Of the year.
Yeah.
Of the year.
Yeah.
The bold statement, my friend. Bold statement.
So I mean, I want to see Diablo 4 as contrived and as
I mean, it's gonna
like,
happen.
stereotypical as that game will also be.
With pandas in it.
So I mean, that's not the kind of thing you look for in a Blizzard game.
Pandas?
Pandas?
Well, no, pandas obviously, but I mean story.
Things being contrived.
So I would say I'm gonna score it a 9 out of 10,
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's really high.
and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna play more of it.
Alright.
So thanks for joining us and listening in on what we had to say about our games, and thanks for looking at our hats.
God, it's so hot in these hats.
It is very hot in these hats.
My
We
beard is
we also have
suffocating.
these lights blaring on us, but in any case, so look forward to our next podcast, which will actually be shot tomorrow. So we're gonna have a lot of material coming your way. So Allie, thanks for joining us. Where can they find you on Twitter?
At Allie Mew.
You can follow Allie at Allie Mew. Do that. You should do it. Andy,
You can follow me at PantsGuy.
you don't have to follow him, Pants Guy.
You should.
No, you
Don't
should.
follow this guy. He's bad business.
You can follow me at Save Us Matt, and you can follow us at Games Abyss. Thank you so much once again, and adios.
Bye.